Hey.
Hi. Please continue. You are setting the tone.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey there.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going wonderfully. It's going swimmingly well. I'm enjoying it. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for answering.
Of course, of course. Are we coming in clear? Everything looks good on your side.
Yeah, like I see you clearly. I hear you clearly. It's a clear frequency. This is perfect. Perfect.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for agreeing to come on. It's just wonderful to see you again, to be back in your energy space. And Celestial, something you put up the other day really gave me some vibes. It really brought me back to another time. You brought me back down memory lane.
I'm trying to see what was that post?
You said, anybody ask you
Ooh.
where I'm going? Where I'm going soon. I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder with Celestial.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Perfect. Like, yo, that that post was so it was very sentimental to me. Like,
Your
that was
Uncle Isaiah.
yeah, my uncle Isaiah, he just passed away recently,
Mhm.
and that was the last time like we saw each other. Like literally, the I asked him to get on the keys. I didn't say what song. He just started playing that song.
Mhm.
So I was like, wow, like it's amazing how the spirit prepares you on what's to come.
Mhm.
So he wasn't in any bad health or anything. I wasn't expecting him to cross over anytime soon.
Right.
But for him to play that song was like his spirit letting me know, like, yo, it's all good. Like when
Mhm.
I go, I'm going up yonder. I'm
Mhm.
transitioning. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of peace about it.
Yes. Oh man. You know, and thank you for that. You could tell that he was proud of you too. He had a lot in him that it seemed like he enjoyed your song as well, and you both were giving each other that sense of peace, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we do. Like as a family, when we get together, it's always music.
Hmm.
No matter where we are, if we're in a restaurant, all you can hear is like one of my aunts or someone saying, please, before we go, we want to bless you with a song.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's a music vibe everywhere we go.
Wow.
Everywhere. Hmm.
Wow. So just blessing people with the music, music is the great connector. It definitely brings us all together. And I love how it has so much influence with you and your family. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. You know that moment that you shared, just seeing your Uncle Isaiah on the keys and to see the joy within you both, as you both were lit up. It reminded me, and it's very interesting because we never met. Me and my grandfather, his name was Daniel. My middle name is Daniel. So my parents, they named me after him. And he was a comedian and a musician, and he played the piano. And they called him Happy. That was his show name. And so he never got to see me born. He transitioned before I came into this world. And there was a moment where my dad said that he was laying down by the bedside. He was with my mom, and he seen like a spirit. Like he seen this figure by the bed, and he just kind of like had his eyes open. He didn't say anything. He didn't, make any movements, but he just seen this spirit like walk by the bed over to my mom's side, and then he noticed that it was my grandfather. It was Daniel. And the spirit put its hand on my mother's belly while she was pregnant, and then it dissipated, it vanished, it disappeared. And so I always wonder because, you know, I used to be on the church choir, you know, and then I've had that love of music all my life. And I've even done stand-up. I've been on stage with the comedy. So it's been very interesting to see how influences get passed on, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And they live through us. Like they may not be here physically, but they're definitely here. I know you commented on, I posted like a clip of my mother's podcast where we were speaking about, you know, the loved ones that have crossed over.
Right.
And I definitely believe, like, not, but more than believe, I definitely know from experience, like, we have the ability to tap into some of the traits and some of the gifts that they had in order to help us on our walk. And they're willing to help us as long as we ask. Like, it's they're not forceful. They're definitely, when you tap into the spiritual world, you start to see it's just like living in the physical world. It's almost, so it's like they're here. It's just there's a veil to where we can't see them. So the communication can still be clear. And I'm so grateful that I grew up in a household where we learned about paying homage to our ancestors by doing libation and things like that, so that way we can feel their presence more often. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Celestial, what would you say are some of the gifts that you've been given and some of the traits that you tap in when it comes to, you know,
okay, well, everyone always says, like, I look like my grandmother. I never had the opportunity to meet her. But my on my mother's side, her mother, I never got the chance to meet her, but everyone says I look just like her and I care just like her. Like, I care for people. When I'm the person, when you come to, like, I live in a van now. I live in my van, but I still offer hospitality. When people come to visit my van, I'm like, oh, here's some fresh fruit, or here's some some fresh juice or something. Like, I got the hospitality side from her. And just caring for everyone, regardless of who they are, not judging people for where they're at, but actually being able to see their full potential and seeing that as them and not seeing the current state.
Yes.
So that's one I'm most grateful for. I will say, even with my uncle, no matter where he went, he was able to just blend in with any community. And I realized everywhere I go, no matter what part of the world I'm in, like, if I stay there for a bit, they start to think I'm a local. Because it's easy to transcend into anything. So I'm grateful.
Yeah. Wow. You know, it's like, I love how you said, well, at the moment, I didn't even know you were in your van. So you've been living the van life.
Yes.
And you've been going, but you still keep the juices flowing. So when people come around, you say you see the best in people. That's one of the traits. That's one of the gifts that you've been given, is to always see the best in another person. So how long has van life been for you, traveling on the road?
So I'm more so, okay, this is the thing. Because, you know, the last time we spoke, I was just moving back to the country. So I decided to stay put in Georgia for a while. But what I've been doing is, like, transitioning myself to that van life space.
Okay.
So I went ahead and got rid of a lot of stuff, moved into the van full time. I might go on trips around Georgia, but I'm not yet leaving this place yet.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to just jump into it without transitioning myself to it.
Got you.
So I'm loving it, though. Like, I go to parks, I go to the lake and just set up. I posted one video one day where I just went to the park to make my breakfast, and people came over and had questions and wanted to talk. So I'm open to sharing a lot about my life, just because I chose to be a servant. And when you're a servant, you have to be willing to show all sides, even if people don't understand it or overstand it. So
I agree. So wow, so you're becoming a magnet. You're drawing things to you. People are just coming to you. They're asking you questions. They want to know, where is this light coming from? You know, they're attracted. This is magnetic. Yeah.
Well, so are you. Like, I'm grateful to come on your page all the time, because I feel like for me, you have been that hub of energy,
Mm.
like where all the enlightened beings gather. They gather like around your space that you create. You're a beautiful, amazing facilitator of energy. And you don't try to hold it for yourself. You don't try to use it for greed. Your willingness to share it is why it's going to continue to grow into such a amazing, some might say ministry or organization, whatever you want to call it, is going to continue to just manifest into something so much greater like than what it is. It's already great, but can you imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years? I
Wow.
see a building coming. I see when I have a vision of you, I automatically see a center
Mm.
where a lot of people are going to gather together in that space. So I'm so excited to be a part of that team and to be a part of that startup because it's coming.
Thank you for that vision. Thank you for that vision. Thank you for those words, that blessing. I received that. I received that. I believe that. You know, it is already happening now. You're right. In this
Wow.
very now moment, it's already manifested. So, my goodness. You know, something happened recently as well, Celestial. You just became a wellness coordinator, right?
Yes, I did.
So, how has that been for you? And coordinating wellness, like, what does that entail?
Okay, so one thing about it, when I came back to the States, I underestimated what it would be like to continue on my journey here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because when I was living in Sudan, like for a whole year, I just went completely raw vegan. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
transition or anything. I just went there. And when I came back to the States after Sudan and Jamaica, I was like, you know what? I want to continue this. But I failed to surround myself around like-minded individuals, or I went back to certain activities that just got me off the course for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm transitioning back to being back where I want to be on my journey, I said, okay, in order to do this, I have to start like surrounding myself with everything around wellness, everything around just holistic health.
Yeah.
So I've been doing the light juices, selling the juices and things like that, but I was ready to start working at a facility just so I could get more ideas for when I open my own.
Mm-hmm.
So so I decided to go to a retirement home because you know I'm a protector of the children and I'm a protector of the elderly. As every society should be protecting those two groups.
Right, right.
So I decided to go to a retirement home, an independent living home, and put in my application. I definitely didn't have all the qualifications they were asking for, but I said, I'm going to get it because I just spoken into existence. And they hired me to like just literally coordinate different exercises, plan trips, do holistic wellness events and things like that. And I'm excited. Like I start March 1st. I'm going to take some time to rejuvenate before I go.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
start that fast. I'm actually leaving for Nicaragua. I can't even pronounce it.
Nicaragua?
Yes, I'm actually leaving for South America.
Whoa.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Safe
Yeah.
travels. Safe travels.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. What's going on in Nicaragua?
You know what? I just been blessed with the opportunity to go. I know for a while people have been asking me to travel with them, but I wasn't in the space where I wanted to travel. Like I wanted to anchor myself a bit more here because I've been going all over for like the last 2 or 3 years. So I
Yeah.
said, let me just calm myself, find my anchor, and then I can travel.
Okay.
So someone blessed me with the opportunity to go. They have land down there. They want me to go experience it. So I'm like, okay, let me go.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Right.
The opportunity is at hand. You
Right.
know?
Right. And that's
It,
what the universe, oh, pardon me. Go ahead.
the universe what?
The universe has always been blessing me. Like sometimes I get distracted to where I can't see the blessings because I get in my own head. I'm like, I could be going through stuff and I'm like, oh, I need help. I need help to do this. And then people are coming to me with help, like, oh, here's a trip. Oh, here's this opportunity. But I stayed in my head for like a minute.
Yeah.
And now that I'm out of my head again, I'm like, oh, all of these opportunities have been here this whole time. I just have to get out of my own way, you know?
They
So,
do say, you know, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, you
mm-hmm.
know? So, wow, what were some of the things that you found most challenging that kind of had you in your own head that didn't allow you so much before to see the opportunities that were already around you?
Yeah. I think mostly me transitioning back to the society in America.
Okay.
Like for the last 2 years, I've really been like in solitude. Like
Okay.
I really wasn't around people. I wasn't around, like even in Jamaica, I was staying in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
like away from cars, away from noises. So I feel like when I came back here, it was a sensory overload. It
Mm.
was like, yo, people talking all the time, people like the cars going, the city, and even going to the country, it was still loud.
Mm.
So I think I had to come back here so that I can learn how to do my practices in every setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to be this spiritual, holistic person when you're like in a mountain away from people and only in nature. But the real test is when you can do it in every setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful I was able to come back because the last time we spoke, I told you I wrote a wellness book while I was in Sudan,
Mm-hmm.
but I never released it. And
Right.
I'm so glad I didn't because it was from a perspective of me being in Sudan and
Okay.
teaching people how to transition and not even considering some of the things you have to go through in America to transition.
Right.
So
Right.
now I'm grateful that I'm back in a space to where I'm reading my own wellness book. It was almost like I wrote it for myself to be
Wow.
able to, to be able to transition back. So I'm so grateful. Like I can't even complain. Like even
Mm-hmm.
on the tough days, like I can't complain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Your own walk towards wellness, you know, reading the chapter from your own book.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said you wrote it for yourself
Yeah.
and you didn't even know. You didn't
Right.
even know. You thought you were writing it for others. You were writing it for you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you were giving yourself the steps to take. That's
And
amazing.
one of the steps was if you're going to be on social media,
Mm-hmm.
like control what is on your feed. Like
Mm-hmm.
and one that's how I found your page. Like
Mm-hmm.
making sure I only follow people that are in alignment to what I'm doing. So that way I'm feeding myself good stuff all day. Like, of
Right.
course, you don't want to be on social media all the time, but we live in a world where we're on social media a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So, if you are going to be on social media, start following people who are posting positive things that constantly reminds you. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to get to that subconscious to where you naturally start doing it again. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
You're
I'm
right.
yeah.
You're right. I agree absolutely. You know, they don't call it a feed for no reason. You
Hey,
know, it's what we're feeding ourselves. It's we're ingesting and we're digesting. You know, it's we create what we consume. That's
right.
true. That's true. It becomes a part of you
Mm-hmm.
in every way.
That's true.
So, my goodness, Celestial, you know, you talk about being in Sudan, Jamaica, and now you about to head to Nicaragua. You feel
And I
me?
can't even pronounce it. I'm so embarrassed that I can't pronounce it. My country accent is like, Nika. Nika. I'm going to just say Nika because I can't.
Lil Nika, Lil Neek Neek,
You're right.
Neek Neek. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Celestial, how many times have you had your passport stamped? Like how many countries have you been to?
I mean, I still got some ways to go, but I've been to six, at least six. This will be my seventh. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm grateful. Like I definitely, okay. And this is another thing because
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people there they say we don't want to work for people anymore, we just want to be entrepreneurs and things like that, and I'm all for that. But if you are going to work for people, if you're going to work at a job at a corporate setting, work somewhere where it's actually going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
Like the greatest advice I ever got, like I was 18,
Mm-hmm.
I was quitting JC Penney's and I was just going to go find another job, And my eldest sister, she started yelling at me. She was like, stop getting these jobs that don't do S for you, and go get a job like at the airlines or something where you actually benefit. So I started applying for airline jobs, got airline benefits, and a lot of my travels was literally me using my flight benefits to go places. And you don't have to travel. Like, a lot of people think you have to travel to work at the airport. You can push wheelchairs at the airport and get flight benefits if you go with the right company.
Wow.
So
it was all paid for.
it was, well, it's basically, you don't have to pay for a lot. Like, for example, I remember I went to Korea and I just went for 72 hours. I just paid like $400 round trip versus paying like $2,000 for a ticket.
Okay.
So you can make anything work. Like, if you have to work a job, literally work something where it's gonna like fit into your lifestyle. And I think that's what, when people say you can just change energy into what you want it to be. If you gotta work, change that energy into like a lifestyle. Like, I hated working at airports, and every time I was ready to quit, I took a trip. Even if it was like literally, I would have 2 days off, I would hop on a plane and be back by the next morning.
Wow.
So
you would hop on the red eye. Shoot,
absolutely.
Out of there. I'm out of here.
Right. So I left the airlines when I moved to Jamaica, though. I did. Because I said it was no longer benefiting me. I said, okay, I know how to book flights to where I can get sales. I know how to do so. I've learned what I needed to learn from this space. And now I can leave it. So being willing to take a step to go into places where it can, you can have a benefit from it, learning the lesson, and then knowing when to let go. So I had to know when to let go of that position, because it was no longer feeding me anything. It was like it was just taking, and I'm like, no, not anymore.
Yeah. Every lesson has a blessing, and every lesson there is a blessing. So you found integration with working at places that fit into your lifestyle, that fit into where you were going, and that enhanced what you were already doing. And then you also found transmutation to change that energy, to change that energy. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then too, like, even getting, of course, people say, well, when you get there, you have to pay for stuff. I feel like when I went there, it was literally just blessings that I was receiving, because a lot of the places that I went, well, let me explain this first. Like, I'm the type of person, if I see someone from a different country, I automatically become friends with them, because I'm like, I know what it feels like to live somewhere and not have family. So I always want people from other countries to feel like, yo, you have a family here. Don't feel like you're a lone wolf. So a lot of the countries I visited, when I got there, the people that I had made my family here, they literally accommodated me and gave me the true local experience and everything. So the saying, like, you reap what you sow. If you're reaping good seeds, like, you're gonna pull up the good stuff. So I'm very intentional with how I treat people.
Yes. I love that intention. The way that whatever you put out, it always comes back. Like they say, what goes around comes around. How you treat people is how you yourself start to be treated. It comes from within first. And it's like they say, a stranger is sometimes a friend you haven't met yet. A stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. So being able to approach somebody with that energy makes you more approachable. Now they can look at you and be like, oh, let me treat you like family. Since you're treating me like family, I guess we family.
Right.
Wow. So what was one of the places that you've been to out of those 6 countries already that really touched you in a way that really nourished your spirit? And then what was one of the places that you've been to that really changed your perspective and caused a shift of your thinking when it comes to the way that we live, say, in America? you know?
I would say Sudan was the game changer for me.
Okay.
Like before going to Sudan, you know, I was just traveling just to, I would literally just travel to find like the local cuisine and
Mm-hmm.
just see different things. I never wanted to, no, let me reword that because that's not even it. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
before when I was traveling, I didn't have any intention. Like I was just going just to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just do any activity. Like it didn't care. I didn't care what was the setting. I didn't care if it wasn't in alignment with myself. I just wanted to go just to go.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to Sudan, I told you I met a breatharian there. It was my first time hearing about someone talking to me about being a breatharian. I'm like, is this like real life? Like, I thought I was in a movie for a minute because they were like real life
Right.
breatharian. And he showed me a whole different world in
Mm-hmm.
Sudan. Like, and there, like, he really taught me. This person later became my husband,
Mm-hmm.
now my ex-husband. But he literally taught me to just calm down and let people be. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people, especially when you're doing making certain life choices, they start to really bash you. Like one thing that I experienced here when I came back, a lot of people felt uncomfortable around me
How so?
because it was new. I was so different from what I used to be. Like for one, when I left, like I was almost like 300 pounds and I came back like super small. And then I was sitting by trees, not talking much. I just wanted to sit in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I was in places where it was very quiet.
Right.
So I didn't talk much. I was just in the presence. And they was like, we feel so peaceful around you. But it's like, it was scary to them too. Cause it's like anything that's new is scary to people.
Yeah.
No, it's not that they're trying to be mean to you. It's not that they're trying to talk about you. It's just they literally, it's new and they don't understand it. And that's what Sudan taught me. Like he was on the journey for 8 years, being raw vegan and everything. And like he was surrounded by a culture where, in order to show their love, they give you food.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that food included meat and things like that. So when you're eating a certain way and you're behaving a certain way, they really take it personable. Like it's not like America. Like in America, we celebrate individuality. And there it's like you have to go with the flow of the community. So for him to go in a different direction than what the community was doing, it was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
But he had gotten to a place where he was so much on this love frequency.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, no, they don't understand what they're saying. They don't understand what they're doing. Because I'm the type of person, I've always been defensive. Like, who are you to tell me anything? I'm like, you can't tell me. Like, I've always been that individual. I'm
Mm-hmm.
standing up for my rights. I'm
Mm-hmm.
standing up for that person's rights. Like, even if
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with every single choice, they have the right to be who they are. Like,
Right.
that's been my personality. So Sudan taught me like to stop taking things so personal
Mm-hmm.
and know that these people are just on their journey. And even if they're not seeing it the way you see it, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has the right to be themselves.
Right.
So, and if you're really happy with your life, you don't care what people think, you know? It's like, I'm here, I'm in my space. And if you don't like it and you want to talk bad about me for doing this, it's okay. There's no problem. Like, peace and love and light to you anyway.
Right. Right.
So I'm great. Sudan changed my life. It changed my perspective. It changed my ability to be able to be disciplined while I was there, because I stayed there for about a year.
Okay.
So I was in heaven when I was there. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and it wasn't even all perfect. Like I had a lot of emotions while I was there. It was very
Mm-hmm.
hard for me emotionally, but because I had so much discipline, it was able to go past those emotions to where it was just living. Like a lot of our emotions are temporary anyway. So
Yeah.
if we have the ability to just say no to the emotions and stick with our disciplines, it's like they don't mean anything, you know? Yeah.
What were some of those disciplines that allowed for that freedom?
Okay, for one, I was completely raw vegan. Like, I was completely raw vegan. So, and the reason why I feel that's important, like, it's not just about the food. The reason why it was important to me, because a lot of foods nowadays are completely processed. So people struggle with depression. I struggled with depression and everything since I was 12, like since I was a kid. And I always was trying to figure out, why am I so sad? Like, I'm in a good place. But now I know a lot of the processed foods that we're on literally causes a hormone imbalance. So it's like, it's not that the individual themselves is, yes, there is sadness and things, but when we get off those processed foods, we're able to identify where the source is, rather than thinking that it's something that is not. Like, you're not depressed because this person broke up with you. You're depressed because you have abandonment issues that you need to deal with. Like, you're able to identify different things.
Yeah.
Two, my physical activity, it was on a whole nother level, because
You were moving around.
I was like, so
moving and grooving.
Like in Sudan, when you turn in, and I don't want people to mistake, Sudan is a beautiful country and beautiful people, but we have to respect there are certain cultural differences. So one of the things is, like, a woman when she turns like 13, I mean a young girl when she turns 13, there's certain things you should stop doing. Like, you shouldn't be swimming at the lake. You're not even supposed to be riding the bike and stuff. So I remember being there and just feeling restricted for a minute. So I was in a compound to where the space was like from here maybe to that house over there.
Okay.
And I would just run back and forth, just doing exercises. Like, now I understand why people in prison get in shape. Because when someone tells you, like, when you have some restriction, it's like you have to do something not to go crazy. It's like you have to do some type of physical activity. So now I know when I'm feeling sad or anything, I need to go take a run. I need to go walk. I need to go exercise. Because when those cells are moving, if you focus on breathing, you don't have time to be sad. It's like, yo, I need to breathe. I don't even have to worry about that thought of what just happened. Like, I gotta focus on this. So, of course, the food discipline as well as the physical discipline, the meditation.
Ooh, okay. What meditations were you doing?
I was literally focusing on just being. Like, I wouldn't follow my thoughts. Like, I would just sit in a space and I would just sit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they feel like, oh, that's simple. But no, a lot of people cannot sit down for more than 5 minutes because they're like, the brain starts distracting you and taking you to all these places.
Yep.
And and now I know, like, I made a YouTube video about this, about the mind taking us on trips.
Okay.
Like, the mind is like a time machine. Like, it can take you to the past, to the future, to the present. But you have to choose if you want to go on that trip. You don't have to go into that time machine with it. You can allow it to come and visit, say what it needs to say, and then let those thoughts go.
Right.
So a lot of times we follow it like, oh, let me explore this deeper. It's not necessary.
No.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So
thank you for sharing those disciplines.
Yeah, for sure. Those were, and that's what I'm getting back to now. Like, learning to, in this society of too much sensory, like I said, it's sensory overload in America, and we have to be aware of it. So focusing on the 5 senses now. So for my hearing, I make sure if I'm listening to something, I'm listening to you, Plant Master, Melissa, like all these great people who are putting out good information and energy. For my taste, I have to make sure that I'm consuming something raw, like some juices. even if I'm still transitioning off cooked foods now, like I still have to include raw foods every day.
Okay.
With the smells, I go outside, I'll smell a tree,
Mm.
I'll smell some plants, like I'll get some essential oils and make sure like I'm doing something to relax me.
Mm-hmm.
With touch, there's so many techniques we can do throughout the day to just relax ourselves. So massaging our temple, like different things, like going right here and just soothing yourself like that. Just doing different things to just calm yourself. And the last one, which one did I miss? Eyesight.
Okay.
Eyes. So ensuring that I'm coming outside in beautiful settings where I can see nature,
Yes.
what I'm watching on TV.
Yes.
I won't allow myself to, like, I know when I shouldn't be watching certain things, like, because of course we want to go on Netflix sometimes, but then I have to remind myself, like, yo, you have to transition to what is entertainment for you, and what, because we'll definitely get an overload of wanting to live a certain lifestyle, or yeah, we just got to know what we're feeding ourselves in all areas.
Yeah. One of my good friends, he would always say, whatever entertains you trains you. You know, it's true. We tune into what we turn, or we turn into what we tune into. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So you're standing guard at the gates. You know, you're standing guard at the gates of your mind, of your eyes, of your ears, of your nose, and you're using all the senses. I love it.
Even if I don't always make the best decisions, I have a certain, I'm not doing it blindly. Like I have a certain awareness to where it's like, girl, you know better. Don't do this again. like, don't try to allow mind to tell you like, oh, it's okay to do this, all that. Like, no, like, you know better. So don't tell yourself it's okay to do something when you know it's not. Like, tell yourself like, okay, I had some French fries. It's not okay to have this. This is not nourishing at all. Like, do not do this again. So I'm honest with myself. Like, and people say, oh, you're too hard on yourself. I'm like, no, I just don't want to lie to myself.
Okay.
You have to be honest.
So
make
honesty.
your mistakes. Yeah, make your mistakes, but be honest about it. Like,
honesty is the best policy. You know, it's like being able to have compassion, and you're saying also not justifying. You're saying not giving yourself that way out. You know, saying like, okay, fool me once, you know, but fool me twice, shame on me. That's a shame on me. Like,
right.
We don't have to do this again. We don't have to go there again. We don't have to suffer again through this, through that vibration. So I love what you said, Celestial, about the mind. And shout out real quick to everyone who's joining. I know you see all the hearts that's been going. People have been dropping lovely comments in here, have been sharing so much love in this room right here. The energy is attracting. Definitely. It's reflecting.
I'm grateful. Like I said, like, on social media, you can literally create your spiritual family to where you can stay uplifted. You know, it's like, I haven't met all of you yet, but like, I get encouraged by all of y'all, like, all the time. And I shouldn't say I haven't met y'all. I met y'all in the spirit. I just haven't met you on this like physical plane. But it's pure encouragement that you can get out here. You don't have to be alone on your journey. And I feel it's very important to share every aspect of my journey. Like, I let people know where I'm at, like, especially people who come to me about juicing and things like that. I let them know, like, yeah, I slipped up for a bit, but let me show you how I'm getting back. So when you fall, you don't feel like you have to stay in that place. Like, there's steps to get back. So
yes, you put that message up the other day, Celestial. You said you were making juices on this video. It was like a reel, and you said, even when you fall, get back up. Yeah. We get back up again. It's like, I remember Kirk Franklin or something. I think the church used to say that. They'd be like, get back up again. Get back up again. What was that song?
When you're down and out, get back up again.
Yeah. And then there was another one too. It was like, for a saint is just a sinner who fell down and got up. Who was that? Was that Donnie McClurkin or somebody?
I can't remember the names, honestly.
Uh,
I know
we
what you're talking
fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. Yeah, that was the song. I'm gonna go back and listen to that. Yo, the church is in here now.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Absolutely.
You just bringing back so many memories. Oh man,
Yeah, someone said Donnie. See, they know about
it. Was Donnie.
Absolutely.
Oh, my Uncle Pee Wee. Oh man, shout out to you, Unc. Much love, much love. He said it was Donnie McClurkin. See, all these things are still in there.
Yeah.
They're still in there.
That's what I appreciate my upbringing. Because I told you about, like, okay, I grew up strict Pentecostal. I mean, when I say strict Pentecostal, no earrings, no makeup, long dresses down. But I love the community we grew up in. Like, it was a belief, like, we're in the world, but not of the world. And the way that they interpreted that is we lived on church grounds. Some would say it's a cult. It wasn't a cult. But we lived in a community where it was only the church. And we used the barter system to exchange. Like, we grew berries at our house so we could go to Sister Betty's house and get cookies. They had a school on the land. We grew food. And like, now I may have not stuck with all the religious views, but that way of living, I realized that was such a blessing for me to be able to experience that. Because now that I'm an adult, I want to get back to those old systems of bartering rather than using money all the time, and being able to have community to where we're building things together. Everybody has a role that we play. Right. And it's beneficial to all of us. And I explored different religions. Like, once I became an adult, I started going to the Krishna Consciousness Temple. I started going to the mosque. I started going to all these different religions. And it really helped me with my walk with the Holy Divine. Because through Krishna Consciousness, I learned that I could see God, the Holy Divine, in everybody. Everybody holy. Everybody got some holy in them. And it's beautiful because you can tap into it and you can really speak to them on that level and ignore everything else they got going on. So I love that. With the Islam, with going to the mosque, they taught me how to cleanse myself before presenting myself to God. Like, when I really want to get in a space where I want to focus on meditation, focus with being on the Holy Divine, I dress myself up. Nobody gonna see me but the Holy Divine. But I dress myself up. I wrap my hair a certain way, and I just feel like royalty, presenting myself to royalty. And what else? With Buddha, learning to just know that, yeah, it's okay. Oh, pardon me. Learning to be in a community. Learning to be in a community, but knowing that a lot of this journey that you have to do yourself, like, you have to do the work yourself. So Christianity, that was my roots, and it's okay to have roots. I feel like it was a prerequisite to this spiritual journey that I'm on, and it still feeds me the way I need to be fed. So I feel like a lot of people, when they say they're spiritual, they no longer want to identify with anything with religion. But I think sometimes we have to remove the religion from the people who taught us the religion, and knowing that religion has a lot of lessons to teach us. We just have to be willing to look at it ourselves instead of go read the holy books yourself, instead of saying, oh, well, they interpret it like this, so I don't like how it sounds. So, yeah, we have to be open to explore.
Wow. So being able to go ahead.
Well, that's why I love, like, in the mornings you do the flute and you read the Tao. Like, I was listening in every single morning because I'm like, this is like some great information. Those are holy books to teach us to be in alignment and the paths that we can go on to get to that alignment. And that's what it was meant to do, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. And I'm glad that you were in on those sessions, because that was healing for me too. You know, to be able to read that, to be able to breathe that, you know, and just have that knowing and awareness that I was cultivating for myself, the information that I was receiving from that and perceiving from that, it was like I had to share it. My cup runneth over, you know, at a certain point, there's just so much, no more can go in. It just starts to spill out from the sides. And then you got to put, you know, cups and saucers next to it to receive from that overflow. It was an overflow.
Yeah.
So that's what I was breathing into, you know. So I'm glad that you were a part of that, you know, and that you shared love on those sessions as well.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the work you're doing, and I'm grateful for just being like you. Being you is enough. You being you is just, it literally, it not only feeds you, but it's feeding so many people. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to do that, because I know sometimes everyone can't receive it. And you just allowing yourself to be, um I want to, allowing yourself to be that temple. That's all we have to know. We the people are the temple. So when we gather together, we are like in that space of it being holy. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate what you're doing. Like, I don't know how to say that to you enough. Like, I try to drop messages here and there just to say, like, yo, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing your thing. I'm proud of you.
Wow, I appreciate, I
Yeah.
receive. So the temple, you know, the holy temple, the collective, the congregation, you know, that sense of fellowship and community. I love it. This is definitely the time for it, and we are definitely in line for it. And I enjoy, you know, Celestial, you were talking about drawing influences from so many places. And then also, what I thought was so mature of you to come to that realization that you could separate the man from the message, you know, that whoever was speaking, that you didn't condemn or cast down the message just because it was coming out of someone's mouth that you didn't agree with or you weren't in line with what that person was. So that was really cool of you to be able to do that. And then being able to draw influences and fit different pieces of the puzzle is so cool as well. I don't know, can you still hear me?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
I'm sorry. It's an airport, so there's
oh,
planes
okay.
going by. Yeah, but I can hear you clearly. Yeah, perfect.
Got you. So you've been able to draw influences from Christianity. You said from the Quran, Muslim, from Krishna consciousness, from Buddhism. You've taken from like all these places, and they've been able to shape you and mold you and allow you to become who you are today, you know?
And I'm still going. Like, whoever
Yeah.
this is right now, I can't even speak in definites. I tell people, look, I'm speaking, but I'm not speaking in definites, because I'm living, I'm evolving. Like, this
Yeah.
is not going to stay.
Right.
Like, if you look at my profile, I have looked different. Not just, of course, whatever you're going through internally, it starts to show on the external too, like naturally. I've looked like so many people in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yo, you can't ever just reject. I don't reject anything, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe that's going to be for me later down the line, but right now I'm like, it's not for me. But I'm not going to condemn you for what you're saying, because I never know if that's going to be a part of my journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And
yeah.
also that sense of community that you were talking about, Celestial, it gave me like Tulsa, Oklahoma vibes when they talked about Black Wall Street, people gathering together, you know, growing your own crops, bartering your own system with your own business. Like everybody is collaborating on that level. And so to go from that kind of community to now living, you know, the van life and kind of embracing yourself in your own meditations and your own vibration, how has that, you know, how have you been able to rest in that and be content in that at this moment?
That's a good question. Um, wow, you got me there. You got me there. I feel like the way that I'm able to be content is that looking back on every experience and looking back on the good and bad, every single thing that I've gone through in life, I've always been okay because I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that it's okay to explore, it's okay to explore, it's okay to like give yourself a chance to do something, and just know that it's going to be okay no matter what the outcome is. So I've had some, like, even with my travels, like I've told you, like in one of the countries I went to, like I experienced some scary stuff, and I was okay then. So I know, like, no matter what I'm doing, I can always be content because I'm doing what I want. As long as you're not causing harm to yourself or others, do what you want and you'll be content.
That is the message.
Yeah.
That is the message. So you're able to look back and have gratitude to say, okay, I was okay then, so I know I'll be okay now.
Right. For real. I done saw some stuff. Like, I'm okay. Like, if I can get through that, I'm like, yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's even a mantra, you know, Celestial. That's a mantra that's very powerful too. If I can get through this, I can get through anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get through this, I can get through anything.
Yeah.
I used to say that.
Yeah.
I used to say that.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, because that's why, that's what got me to Nigeria. Was the first country that I visited that people was like, oh, you're going there? Like, and I went there by myself. A lot of countries I was just going by myself. And when I went and I saw, like, and I wasn't even in tourist areas, I would go to like different areas. And after being on that trip and really enjoying it, I was like, oh, I can go anywhere in the world. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I can go anywhere in the world, and like whatever happens, happens. Like, because of course, I care about my life and I love my life. But I know when it's not your time, it's not your time. When it's your time, it's your time. So, yeah. Not to be reckless. I'm not reckless. I'm just saying.
Not with reckless abandon, no.
Right.
We being responsible.
Right. I'm not encouraging just reckless behavior. Know where you're going. Know the people. Learn some phrases in the language or something. But just do your thing. Like, stop putting so much thought on it. Just do what you got to do. And I too get in that space where I think too much. Like, ever since I came back from Jamaica, I have not been going anywhere because I've just been having well, what if this, what if this, what if this? And I literally had this conversation the other day, like, girl, who is this with all these regulations and restrictions? That's not even you anymore. Why have you allowed that to attach to you again? Release it. Take a deep breath and collect all that bullshit and push it on out. Excuse my language, but that's what I do. Like, I collect all of the BS and I push it out, and then I collect some of the good stuff from the air and allow it to flow through. So that's life.
They do say, you know, to some degree, it's all BS. It's all BS. Belief systems. Our belief systems is like the BS that we've assimilated into the mental matrix, into our makeup, our belief systems. So I love how you were able to do that, how you were able to say, why have I placed these things on myself and allowed myself to carry this burden, this weight that I don't even need to carry this anymore. Let me get off of me.
It's like sometimes you forget, like you get so caught up in it, you don't even realize it's there. And then when you have that moment where spirit is able to come through, like to where you really hear it, like, girl, that ain't you. You better listen, because the spirit is very subtle in how it speaks. And if you miss it, it's always there. I'm not saying that you're not going to get another opportunity, but when you recognize it, like, oh shit, like you said, let me get that off of me. Like, get off. Like, we talk about the old church folks when they used to be rebuking stuff. They literally, that's their way of getting it off. I rebuke that negativity. I rebuke that spirit of fear, like, get
Right.
it off of me.
Right. Right. It said, "Get thee from around me.
Right.
Get thee from around me." That
Right.
was powerful. It was the way that we spoke. We didn't even know we were speaking these things, you know,
Right.
speaking things into existence, speaking things off of you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
get it off of you,
That's why
you
we
know.
can't reject anything, because
Yeah.
it's like, we just, because it's just like speaking another language. Like, a
Yeah.
lot of people are saying the right stuff, it just sound different.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start listening to all these different messages from different outlets, you have to be able and have the maturity to translate it to
Mm-hmm.
what it's really saying. And
Mm-hmm.
even then, we still sometimes don't know what it's saying. But hey, it's like, it's the journey of it, of allowing it, the information to flow. Because when it's supposed to be revealed, if it's, can you hear me? I know the plane is okay.
Okay.
It's having the maturity to allow the information to flow.
Yeah.
And even if you don't understand it, but your heart intent is good to, like, I'm learning this information so that I can grow. When
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to make sense, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll have a conversation with somebody and you're like, whoa, I watched a video on that 4 months ago and I finally understand it just by this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So the willingness,
Yeah.
when you have the willingness, it will flow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The willingness for sure.
Yeah.
And the awareness. And so it all clicks. Everything clicks when whenever we get those moments of clarity, when it all coincides, when it all collides, and we say, oh wow, this is why I had to go through that, or this is why I heard that. So this makes sense now, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
I love what you did. You stretched yourself. You left your comfort zone and you went into your discovery zone. And that first trip you talked about when you went to Nigeria, and after that you were like, shoot, I could go anywhere, you
But
know?
baby, let me just say this. I am not glamorizing this at all,
Yeah.
because let me just make this clear to everybody watching. I am not glamorizing my journey,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like one of the reasons I stepped back, because I said, hold up, I done learned a lot of stuff. I just need
Mm-hmm.
to step back for a minute. So just be like, that goes back to being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't push yourself to an extent to where it just breaks you, because then you're just going to give up altogether.
Right.
Know yourself to just step back when you need to. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
is not a race. You are not competing with anybody.
No.
So just, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just be honest. That's what we got to be honest with yourself. Be honest with the people. Honesty is the
Mm-hmm.
policy, as you said.
Yeah. So know yourself to grow yourself.
Yeah.
We got it. This is the message. You have given us such a gem today. This has been amazing.
I'm so
This has been
grateful.
wonderful. So much gratitude, so much love, abundance. Thank you so much, Celestial, for coming in here, sharing your story, shining, showing your glory, and letting us, behold you. Everyone who came in here has all been affected, you know?
Wow.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. That energy is being transferred, is being passed on from one to another.
Well,
So,
let me just say, I'm putting my hands up. I'm declaring peace. I'm declaring love. I'm declaring light. And to everyone who is on this live stream, may you come in peace and may you go in peace always. Giving thanks that it is so, so it is. Thank
always.
you. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe. So it is. So it is. So where might people go if they want to reach you? What channels would you like people to beseech you to come and find you for either a service, a juice, or a plan, or anything, or maybe just some words of encouragement or some advice? Where would you like people to
Yeah,
go?
absolutely. So, of course, you're welcome to follow me on this page. In my link, there's a link to my YouTube channel. I haven't been as active, but I do have some videos on there. The juices are for locals in Georgia. I don't put any preservatives or anything. So the people who buy my juices, they know in 3 days you need to be, like, really, I prefer you to come get it fresh every day. But for those folks who are not in Georgia, come get your feeding through Instagram or YouTube with some positive energy and some honesty about my journey. Like, I don't lie.
Right.
I post what I want. So if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then it's all peace, love, and light.
what you see is what you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. So much love, and I'm looking forward to where you head from here. Enjoy your safe travels, your safe journey to Nicaragua. And when you get back, I know that you're going to be writing a new chapter in your book when it comes to being a wellness coordinator at the home, and just gonna continue to use your gifts, which continue to lift us all. You know, as you are lifted, we too are lifted. You know?
Absolutely. Look, I look forward to coming to your facility. I know it's coming. So I know it's on the under the radar, but I already saw it. I saw the whole thing. So let me know. Let me
I
know.
like that. I like how you sprinkle that in. You sprinkle it in that little stuff. I like that. Yes, yes.
Peace, love, and light.
All right.
All right.
We'll take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Awesome.